It is 5 o'clock p.m. in the Pacific Standard Time Zone. We are rounding around the corner for 36 hours of Give-A-Thon for Chemo Buddies for Life. And I have my dear friend, Jeff Steinberg, who is a masterpiece in progress. You know, he's also got a few talents going on. And in fact, if you didn't see the opening act yesterday at 12 o'clock Pacific noon, then you need to go back to that show, because I'll tell you, he and Skip and MJ's Raven, along with a lot of our friends that gave testimonials, did something pretty spectacular. And I want to say thank you for that, Jeff, because it was a last minute request and you were game. You were there. You showed up with a great attitude. You did it. And didn't it turn out fun?
Actually, it was, and I surprised myself. I did stuff I hadn't done before, and Skip made me sound so good. It was incredible.
He's pretty talented, that guy, and he made himself sound pretty good. I love the outfits that he put himself in. I thought that was very creative, and
Skip, I'd clap for you, but I'm shorthanded.
We're already starting in, and I love it. Aloha, Charles, Coach Chuck. And, I want to have some fun right now, because, this has been a really incredible period of time so far since yesterday. And you've been there now with me for a while with this program, and you've supported me, and I'll never forget when I was in Florida and you had me come over and talk to you, and you said, yep, okay, I'm in. I've got a reason for it. I'm here with you. I am here. You call me and we'll make things happen. And you have been in since then. You were on last year's Giving Tuesday. We called it the Service Heroes Telethon, because that was the bigger brand then, benefiting Chemo Buddies for Life. And we had some fun on that one, didn't we?
Oh yeah. I've been in this thing ever since I first met you, and I've been very, very impressed. And we'll share why and my story and all of that when you're ready. But
and I've got your book here, because I have read it. And I'll be honest, I haven't read everybody's book that has been given to me, though. They are there to be read. However, I wanted to know. I wanted to know your story, and I wanted to understand your story. And your story is pretty spectacular. And when I read the very beginning of the book, the first few chapters, I at that moment in time, it was the same thing for me with you. It was like, okay, this guy has got my heart. I absolutely adore him. I adore his wife. There is just something in it. And then whenever we talk, you are always cracking me up. You have that ability to just, bring in the heart, and then boom, I am busting up. And that is your charm and your wit and your gift, and you have so many. What do you believe right now in the year 2019? You have experienced so much in this world. You've experienced, and I will say, even in the Give-A-Thons, because you started in the telethon world. You have been in the telethon world back in, what was the first telethon you were ever involved in?
years ago when I was just around high school, I appeared in the Variety Club Telethon in Philadelphia. And I had the privilege of singing. Later on, back in for about 10 years, when I was married in about 1979, thereabouts, I started to appear with Pat Boone on the National Easter Seal Telethon, and I would fly back and forth. I would go to LA on Wednesday, be there for Thursday's rehearsal, Friday's rehearsal with the live orchestra on stage, and then I would appear on Sunday morning. I would fly back as soon as I had performed back to Memphis where I was living, and I would be a co-host on the Memphis latter half of the telethon and close it out. I did that for 7 years, and then another 3 years I was doing the same thing, but I was doing it from I was going from LA to Allentown, Pennsylvania, or Lehigh, Northampton County. And so I was involved with the National Easter Seal Telethon for about 10 years. And Pat Boone and I are still very, very close friends. I would sing on it. Live television is always a challenge because I remember the first year I was going to do a song from my album, The Glove. And I remember they told us to send the 2-inch tape, and I did. And I did and I sent them the album version so they could hear what it was supposed to sound like in the mix. Only when I got up on stage and they introduced me, I started singing and I heard myself in the background, and I realized they had recorded the album version instead of the track that I was to sing for. So I just stopped, I just stopped singing and I just kept on lip syncing it. And I did the Nilly Vanilli thing,
We were talking about that the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the next year I appeared, and it was 1993. And I had just recorded the album Tiny Giant. So Pat Boone's introducing me to the audience, and he says, here he is, the Tiny Giant. And I had sent the 2-inch tape tails out, which is the way I was taught. Mm-hmm. You always wind it tails out so that when they put it on, they can just rewind it. And if there's any ghosting, it's always after the fact, not before the fact. And so I get up there, and of course, they start playing it, and I hear this, and I started to realize, and I turned and looked, and I said, Pat, they're playing it backwards. They had the tape turned upside down, and it was playing the whole thing backwards.
Oh, my goodness.
So Pat Boone comes out. He's got his fingers. You know how you do the elongation, like you're trying to stretch something? Right. He's doing this, and he says, you know what this means, don't you? Now, he's on camera, and he's got his microphone. And I said, yeah, I know what I think it means. And he said, it means we need more spaghetti. And he looked at me, and I said, Pat, they're playing it backwards. Well, by this time, they had stopped, and they were working on it. And Pat said, well, don't you know this song backwards and forwards? I said, of course I do. He said, well, can't you sing this song backwards? I said, of course I can. And I swung around, and I turned toward the back curtain, and I started to sing. And the producer fell off his chair. He couldn't believe it. He's like, we've never had a celebrity who could ad-lib like this. It's like, well, what was I going to do, So
and that's your charm. Seriously.
That's what I do. That's who I am. That's what I do.
Right.
Hey, you said you had It's a Long Way Up queued up. How quickly would it be for you to get a Masterpiece queued up?
Not very long. Let me just.
Because I think we ought to introduce me by letting
Okay.
people see Masterpiece. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
And
Let me
then we
grab
can come
that
back
one.
to it. Okay. Can we do that? All right.
Yeah,
Because I think
absolutely.
that way, when people hear my story and when we talk about why I'm on this Give-A-Thon, they'll understand that I have a tie to this whole thing, and I have a
Yeah.
connection, and I really have an even more of a connection to this whole cancer thing, and that's important to me. But I want to save that until after people have a chance to get to see who I am. What do you think?
I love it. I love it. So let me just get this finished up.
There it is.
Yep. And so let me just. There we go. Okay, so let me turn it on. Oh, I've got it. What I've learned is I've got to do this. I'm learning this. Okay.
When an artist starts painting on a blank piece of canvas, doesn't always look very good. Wondering what it's gonna be like when it's done, if it's ever gonna look like it should. When the colors start blending, shapes begin forming, begin to see the master design. When the last stroke is painted and the brush is laid down, it's exactly what he had in mind. I'm a masterpiece in progress. He is still working on me. I may not look like it yet. You better bet I'm becoming all he wants me to be. I'm a masterpiece in progress. Won't be too long till I'm done. A few more strokes of the brush and the master's touch. I'll be in the image of the sun. When you look at me, you'll see a half-finished picture, pieces of what I'm gonna be. God is still working real hard in my life, painting things that only He can see. Sometimes the colors are bright ones, sometimes they're dark ones. They're all a part of what He has planned. He'll complete what He started in His own perfect time. I submit to the brush in His hand. I'm a masterpiece in progress. He is still working on me. I may not look like it yet. You better bet I'm becoming all He wants me to be. I'm a masterpiece in progress now. Won't be too long till I'm done. More strokes of the brush and the master's touch. I'll be in the image of the sun. I'm a masterpiece in progress. Jesus is working on me. I may not look like it yet. You better bet I'm becoming all He wants me to be. I'm a masterpiece in progress. Won't be too long till I'm done. A few more strokes of the brush and the master's touch. I'll be in the image of the sun. The You're a masterpiece. You're a masterpiece. And you're a masterpiece. And me, I'm a masterpiece in progress. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's been my theme, and that's been my message to the world, that each of us is a masterpiece, becoming one color at a time, all that God designed for us to be. And I guess to start off with, I should probably tell you a little bit about me. I was born August 18, 1951 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, with no arms, no hands, and malformed legs. My legs were scissored, crisscrossed. The doctors didn't think I was going to live. And so, at my father's insistence, my mother was not told about my disability.
Right.
And she did not know until I was almost 17 months old when my grandmother told her in the kitchen as she was making dinner one night. And she said, Ruthie, she said, he's alive. And my mom put the knife down or whatever it was she was dicing with. And she didn't even turn around. She said, Mom, why won't they let me see him? Is he ugly? My grandmother stood up. She walked over to my mom. She put her arm around her and said, no, Ruthie, he's not ugly. He's beautiful. He has a Yiddish Kopf, a Jewish face, a Jewish head. She got to see me for the first time when I was almost 2 years old in a children's welfare shelter in Philadelphia. I was my first attempts at trying to get any kind of normalcy, if there is such a thing, was when I was about 2.5 years old. I was placed into the care of the Shriners Hospital for Crippled Children in Philadelphia. And Dr. John Royal Moore, chief of orthopedic surgery, said, I think we can fix this little guy. And he operated on my legs to straighten them, and he discovered that there was no joint in my right knee. So he broke the bones and he fused it back together stiff. He cleaned away valuable growth tissue. And I'll always be 4 feet 6 inches tall. Michael Jordan, eat your heart out. I learned to do all kinds of things with my feet. I learned to write with my feet. I bet you can't write with your feet.
No.
I used to suck my big toe. I even learned to feed myself with my feet. Can you feed yourself with your feet?
Nope. Can't do it.
Can you get your feet to your mouth?
You know, I could have at one time. I know I could have.
I was told you were pretty good at putting your feet in your mouth.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, you know, I have a feeling that. Okay, now with that said, okay, take a break because I have promised the powers that be that I would continue to be sharing that we are in the midst of Giving Tuesday right now. That this is the tail. We are going into the evening of the 36-hour Give-A-Thon to benefit Chemo Buddies for Life. And Chemo Buddies for Life, as everybody knows that's been watching this, is a nonprofit that is helping people to ease the suffering of isolation experienced by those affected by cancer, both the patient and those people that love and support them. And we are rounding up, and we're asking for you to donate. If you have been at all finding these stories and these segments inspirational, educational, if you have ever experienced cancer in your life and that you know the power of having a friend, having someone that you can relate to, having a buddy, we're asking you to find it in your hearts to donate, share the link out, to volunteer, or to become a buddy. You need a buddy. We want you to become a buddy. Go to the site. We welcome you to be a part of our movement. Can
I throw something in here?
I would love for you.
My father died in 1981. He died of pancreatic cancer. He died 5 minutes before I walked into the hospital room when he was going to tell me everything that I wanted to know and answer a whole lot of questions.
Right.
Cancer is brutal.
Yeah.
Cancer is unrelenting. And when one finds out that they have cancer, it's very easy to also fall into the notion that you have no worth, that your life is useless, that there's no point in trying.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody should have to face this alone.
No.
Having a friend who says, I'm here with you, I'm in it with you, and I'm in it to win it.
Mm-hmm.
One way or another, we're
Right.
going through this together, because you never, ever should have to face this tyrant, this cruel disease alone.
Right.
Each of us is a masterpiece. Each of us is becoming, one color at a time, all that God designed for us to be. And you're a masterpiece. And if you know somebody who's having trouble being that masterpiece because of cancer, then it's up to you to step up and say, hey, I may not be there in person, but maybe I can give $50, $100, $500. Stop me when I've said enough. $1,000. You $5,000. Because whatever you give is going to make it possible for Tamara and for Chemo Buddies for Life to find a matching masterpiece. Somebody who will step up and say, I'm in it with you. We're going to face this enemy together, and we're not going to be defeated. So get out your checkbook, get out your credit card, get out your platinum card.
Oh, yes.
And go big or go home. Because, folks, the people who have cancer, they have no other way. They have no other place to be. You can go shopping, you can do Cyber Mondays, and you can do Black Fridays, and you can get all the things that you want. These people want to be cancer-free, and they can't. And so they want to try to gain as much dignity and as much life back as they can. And they can with your help.
Yes.
Because you can say, I can be a friend, I can be a buddy, and we're going to go through this together.
Yes. Thank you. Absolutely. You know it. And you get it. You get it because you know it. You know it because you've been there. And you know it. Yes, I agree with you. Joy, great words of wisdom. Absolutely. Absolutely. The reality of it is this, is that our lives our lives are so much the same, though they may appear to be different. They just may have different dressings, they may have different bows and packages and all those kind of things, but in truth we all have our own sets of struggles and trials and learning experiences and opportunities to grow. And we are all, like you said, that masterpiece in progress, because each one was designed to have those unique special trials to become the better person that we have inside. And getting to know you, Jeff, as I have, I can say that you have given me so much strength and absolute joy, just because of the fact that you okay, we're back. And people could say, okay, there's an issue here, but in truth, we all have issues. We all have we okay, let's do this again.
But Tamara, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I can do nothing about the circumstances of my birth.
Right.
I'm
True.
always going to have no arms. The
Right.
people who have cancer, they can't do anything about the circumstances that they're facing.
Right.
But they can choose not to be handicapped by it.
Right.
And see, that's
Yes.
the message. A
Yes.
handicap. See, people look at me and they see that I wear an artificial arm. And oh, by the way, my arm, take a look at this. I mean,
Ooh, I love it.
it's
It is great.
myoelectric. And look at this. Watch this.
Ooh,
Here's the
wow.
thing. People think I'm handicapped because of the way I walk, talk, act, dress, or do things. Here's what I want you to know. A handicap is anything that keeps me from being or becoming all that I was created to be. And I was created to be fearfully and wonderfully made. I was created to be a masterpiece. And so are you. And so is each person that faces cancer in any of its forms. My sister's mother-in-law came to our concert in Philadelphia on October the 14th. That was a Monday evening, little over a month ago. A week and a half later, and oh, by the way, she was 90 years old and she had perfect health. She had just received a clean bill of health. They had done blood work, and she was in, A1 shape. A week and a half later, she's in the hospital in the emergency room. The doctors had discovered that she had come down with an aggressive form of leukemia. 2 weeks later, she was dead.
Right.
We cannot do anything about the circumstance that faces us except try to help each other through it. You
Exactly.
see, we don't have to be handicapped. Not once did she look up and say, I'm sorry that this is happening to me. You know what she said? She said, do the best you can, be the best you can. She understood. She's not handicapped by it. I'm not handicapped by it.
No.
Because being handicapped is a choice.
True.
So you can choose to help a chemo buddy or help someone going through chemo. Write a check, make a phone call, make a pledge, get your wallet out and say, look, I've been really, really blessed. I've got a great family. I've got a great home life. I've got everything in my life is doing really, really well. And you know what? It's time to give back a little bit. It's time to make a difference, and touch somebody's life. They may not know your name. Look, I don't know most of the Shriners that have helped me in the years that I was in Shriners Hospital. I don't know any of them. There are 19 Shriners hospitals across the country. And I tell people all the time, thank a Shriner. He doesn't know me, but he's helped 1,000 like me. Thank somebody. Make a difference. Make a pledge. They may not know you, but what you give will help them to say thank you to you by being grateful to everybody who comes into their life and lifts them up and makes them better. That's what this is all about.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a singer. I'm a comedian. A month ago, I was in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I was awarded the Artists Music Guild Heritage Award for Comedian of the Year for the second time. For the second time. Yep.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
So you are pretty funny, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, that's what people tell me.
It's true.
I had a 5-year-old that wanted to know why I didn't have any hands. I told him I used to bite my fingernails, and one day I went too far. He's in trauma therapy still.
Uh-oh.
But he's got great looking hands. Look, we can whine or complain about our circumstance.
Right.
Or we can face it head on.
Mm-hmm.
With your help, Chemo Buddies is going to stand by those who are struggling with cancer. You can help them find the masterpiece within.
Mm-hmm.
You can help them make a difference. Come on, folks. $20 or $40, you're going to waste that at a McDonald's one day or in a week. You know, make a phone call, make a pledge, and let's really put Tamara and Chemo Buddies for Life over the top. I know there are people that are probably going to match funds, but you know what? If we get there first, think of how much more they get to give just to match it. See, think of how much more they can accomplish with your giving. And that's why I'm here. I'm here to tell you that you're a masterpiece, each and every one of you, and that you don't have to be defined by your circumstance. The people who are going through cancer, they're not defined by their circumstance, but they can be refined. They can be made better. They can be made stronger because they've got somebody going through it with them.
Yeah, thank you. It's so true. So well said. Absolutely. You are the masterpiece in progress. When I look at your book, when I I've read your book, and I just say your pictures are so much fun in here. I love, and I don't have the same setup that I had where I could just bring pictures up on but I love this grouping, of the silliness, because this is the Jeff that I know and love, because you have that side to you that is just okay. Let's have some fun. Let's throw it up,
Yeah. Would you buy a used car from a face like that?
Oh, sure, if it's yours. And I probably know who would have driven it too.
Oh yeah, I'm a Lincoln man. Oh, we didn't even mention, on top of everything else that I do, I drive Uber and Lyft. I drive rideshare. It's funny. I usually wait until I'm doing about 40 or 50 miles an hour before I tell anybody that I don't have any arms. I had a businessman got in my car, and he looked at my hook on the wheel, and he says, "Were you born like that?" I said, "Without the hook," I said, "that would really hurt. My mom would not be happy. This is going to tear a little."
Yeah, absolutely. So now let's talk about what you've been up to. Now you've been busy, right? You've been like going around and performing and but before we go into that, I keep looking at that tree behind you. What's up with that?
I wondered when you were going to get there.
It's like, okay, it just keeps. I mean, my eye is like, okay, it's not quite shaped right. What do we have going on there?
It's the skinniest Christmas tree you're ever going to see, and I told my wife, I said, I am definitely looking for something more modern and something a little bit more tree shaped. But everybody says they love it.
Yeah,
but
fun.
Here's the deal. My wife and I, we live in Orlando, Florida. So the first year we were here, we found a palm tree with Christmas lights.
Oh, fun.
So that became our Christmas tree. And we would put that up, and that goes in the living room. And my wife decided that because we had for years bought Star Trek ornaments, superhero ornaments, westerns, like the Lone Ranger, Zorro, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Star Trek, Captain Picard, the Enterprise, Voyager, all kinds of things like that. And so she decided when we got this palm tree, I wasn't going to put she wasn't going to let me put my ornaments up. So we got a separate tree. And that's what it's back there now. Okay. But what I didn't tell you was in our bedroom, when we were buying Star Trek ornaments and Star Wars and all the other stuff, we were also buying Barbie ornaments.
Oh.
Every year, Hallmark used to put out a new Barbie ornament. And so I would buy one for her. And so we would get a pre-lit, one of those LED trees, and with the lights that change colors. And we put it in our bedroom. So her Barbie ornaments go in the bedroom. My Star Trek ornaments go in my office. And all the normal Christmas ornaments go in the living room on our Christmas palm tree. So that's the story behind the tree. Well, last year she came up. Well, we used to have, different trees, and she came up with this. This is a skinny, and it's a silver, one of those silver trees.
Oh,
but
okay.
But it doesn't open up very wide. It almost looks like a tree where the branches were all cut to the shape of a pole. And, it's like, okay, they don't come out very far. It's not very shapely. And I was thinking about replacing it, but everybody seems to think they like it. So,
I do. It's got character. And it frames the picture really well. Like, okay. Yeah, and I would love to be able to see the ornaments closer because I love those kind of characters. Star Wars, Star Trek, all that kind of stuff.
Well, let's see. We have Captain Picard, we have the Flash, we have the Enterprise, we have a horn, we have Batman, we have the Lone Ranger, Superman, we have a Klingon vessel. We've pretty much got it all. And every now and then I keep looking, to see what else is out there.
Well, I need to recognize someone with a donation dance because my friend Marlene she donated. So thank you. We were doing the donation dance earlier, and it's like, okay, yeah, there you go. Thank you. Okay, so we've been doing the donation dance all day long because you know what? Because we can, and it's fun. Because you gotta have fun.
Because people like her make it possible.
Absolutely, and Marlene has been a supporter also since the very beginning, and she's watched this process ever since the very, very, very start, and has supported throughout. And I just want to say thank you, Marlene. Thank you. And
thank you.
Yes, and so as we go forward, because it's now almost 6 o'clock, and the next show is going to be Skip and MJ's Raven. They're going to be on together, and so we're doing back-to-back music and it's the three of you and then the your other duo. And can I just say how appreciative I am for the three of you, because at the very last minute I'm like, okay, I have an idea. Because especially again, you inspire me. I know you've been involved in the telethons. I know, and I feel this affinity for the Jerry Lewis telethon, even though it was a Labor Day and it was another organization. But this is a newer day of giving or a special day, and we're taking this day and we're saying, okay, it's going to be ours. And this is a cause similar to that where it is huge. It affects basically everyone. And we may be in the infancy now, but we won't be forever. And so I thought, okay, how do we do some kind of an opening act that catches your attention and has that element of people coming in and out and everything, and be able to do it in a digital platform? And you guys pulled it off. You pulled it off.
Well, you know what? God is good.
I agree. Because you know what? I know that it wasn't necessarily an easy pull off.
Well, you know what? Skip is an extremely talented guy. And when he said he was going to put it together after we had contributed our parts, my part was easy. All I had to do was sing. Skip had to try to sync it all together and put the whole thing and edit everything. And it's funny because afterward we got to talking online after you guys had gone off, and he said he sent me a message and he said, I just looked at your website. He said, I didn't realize you were that Jeff Steinberg. He said,
really?
I've seen you through the years. And he said, I was quite surprised. He said, he was quite pleased. And so I said, well, maybe we could do some stuff together. And that would be kind of nice. Because the arranger that I've worked with for years is a Grammy-nominated arranger. The guy that arranged Masterpiece in Progress, the guy who arranged It's a Long Way Up. I don't know if we'll have time enough for you to play it.
No. Well, yeah. How long is it?
Probably about 3.5, 4 minutes. I don't know.
We can do that. We won't have much more time afterwards, but if you want to, we can do that. Let's do that.
Yeah, that would be nice. I do want to make sure we tell people, for those that would like to get in touch with me and, would like to get our music, it's available on iTunes. My book, Masterpiece in Progress, is available on Amazon, and it's also available in Kindle and Audible, an audiobook. I narrated the whole book, 18 hours, and I edited it. Yeah, and these videos that you're seeing today of me, I did those videos, and I edited those videos and put them together. But if you'd like to have me come, or if you're interested in how to get in touch with me, jeffsteinberg.net is my website. We also have for churches, we have tinygiant.com. But this is the song. This is a song I play for all of my Uber riders. They get to hear me, and this is the song they get to hear. And it's actually written by Barry Manilow. And I heard him sing it back in 1990, and I fell in love with the lyrics because of the message. And what I found out was, I only ended up changing 2 words in the whole song, but it changed it in terms of making it a much more motivational piece. And I gave it to Don Hart, and I said, I want you to do something with this. And he arranged it, and just in time for me to do the Variety Club Telethon with Monty Hall in Toronto, Canada.
Wow.
And so this is it.
Okay.
Once you find what matters in your life, just keep on pushing through the darkness till you see the light. You're gonna find it. You're no longer behind it. Once you've learned you've been doing wrong, you can make the change you need to make to carry on now and forever. Oh, the sooner the better. It's a long way up when you're coming from nowhere. It's a long way up when you're coming from nowhere. You got to fight a little harder, push a little more. Give it everything you've got. Takes you through the door 'cause it's a long way up. You've been down before, that's okay. Oh, you can rest assured, everyone can have his day. Life in the jungle, you ain't gonna crumble. It's a long way up when you're coming from nowhere. It's a long way up when you're coming from nowhere. You got to fight a little harder, push a little more. Give it everything you got. Get you through the door 'cause it's a long way up. Don't give up the dream. Don't you know it's dark before the dawn? And you think you just can't take it. That's when you make it. That's when you make it. It's a long way up. It's a long way up. When you're coming from nowhere. It's a long way up. When you're coming from nowhere. You gotta fight a little harder. Push a little more. Give everything you've got. Get you through the door 'cause it's a long way up. It's a long way up when you're coming from nowhere. It's a long way up when you're coming from nowhere. It's a long way up. And that's how a lot of people who are facing cancer and chemo treatments feel. It's a long way up.
Yeah.
But you can help make that journey easier. Be thankful. Be thankful for a healthy family. Be thankful for a healthy life. Be thankful that you can do all the things that you can do and show that thanks on this Giving Tuesday by making a pledge, by making a commitment, by calling and donating to Chemo Buddies for Life.
Absolutely.
And show them that you believe in the masterpiece that God designed for them to be. Because you can help make that journey easier. It is a long way up when you're coming from nowhere, but you can help them get there.
That's right. Thank you, thank you, thank you, my friend. I just absolutely adore you. Thank you for everything. And
my pleasure.
We will be talking again soon.
And thank you for having me. And anybody who wants to get in touch with me, jeffsteinberg.net or tinygiant.com. Either one of those two. And all our phone number and all of our information's on there. Okay?
All right.
Tamara, I love you.
I love you too. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye, Jeff.
Bye-bye.